good morning, Carbondale. How y'all doing out there? Happy Monday. It's a nice, bright, sunny day. I do enjoy it. Feels nice out there, and woo-wee, what a weekend. Oh my goodness, it was an incredible SIU homecoming weekend. I don't know if y'all were on the Strip Friday night. Hopefully you were, because if you weren't, you missed probably the most epic party of the year. We shut down the Strip through an amazing concert with the SIU Alumni Association and River Radio, with Modern Day Saints and Jungle Dogs final farewell show, and it was just really something special. Just shout out to everyone involved who made that happen. It was just a really fun time. Thanks everyone who came out. People of all ages were milling about the Strip, and it was a beautiful sight to see. So yeah, just gets us excited seeing that Carbondale momentum moving forward like that. So let's keep it up. Let's keep partying. Speaking of parties, there's a wonderful event happening this Friday. The Survivor Empowerment Center is hosting once more their Little Black Dress event. So this is a huge fundraiser for them, another iconic event that they have brought back. It is held at the Carbondale Civic Center at 7 p.m. Please get your tickets in advance. You can go to empoweringsurvivors.org. That's the Survivor Empowerment website. Or if you feel more comfortable going in person, you can visit the Survivor Empowerment Center office, and you can get tickets from them in person there. So yeah, it's a time to dress up. There'll be great food, music, dancing, and yeah, very important event to help survivors of domestic abuse and violence in our community. The Stage Company has another weekend of runs of their production of 1984. This opened last weekend, and it runs again this weekend, Thursday through Sunday. That's the 17th through the 20th. The Thursday through Saturday evening shows are at 7:30 p.m. and the matinee is Sunday at 2. You can go online to the Stage Company, visit their Facebook, visit their website. I don't have their website pulled up, but Google a Stage Company Carbondale. You'll find them. You can get your tickets online, or you can get your tickets in person day of at the box office. And I just wanted to mention, all right, now that we've got homecoming wrapped up, we're in the month of October. Halloween time, y'all. Spooky time. The season is upon us. So please visit our City of Carbondale government Facebook page. We have info about it. Our tourism page, which is Carbondale IL Tourism, has info about it. We'll be posting more there. We have a Carbondale Halloween Facebook page that you can go like, that is solely dedicated to Halloween events. So, you know, you can just go right there, see everything we got going on, or visit CarbondaleHalloween.com is a nice, concise place to see everything at once that we have going on, because everything is going on all month long. Our official Halloween runs October 18th through, funny enough, not through October 1st, but through November 9th, because we even have some post-Halloween activities like the pumpkin smash and whatnot. So please visit it out, go see all that info. And I have with me today, I'm going to introduce you to my guest who has some involvement in Halloween activities this year. I have Yaya with me from CCAVE. Good morning, Yaya. How are you?
Good morning. How are you today? Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for coming on. Yes. So, Yaya, before we even get into what's going on for Halloween, I would love if you could let folks know, let our listeners and our viewers here on YouTube know all about what CCAVE is and what y'all do. So if you want to, first break it down for us, because that's an acronym that we got going on, CCAVE.
CCAVE, so we're composed of educators, our board is, and so it was interesting when they came up with the name, because they created this acronym because we fit, right? We fit into the arts, we fit into this town, bilingualism fits into our schools, etc. That was the entire idea of the acronym. But the acronym stands for Southern Illinois Culture and Arts and Bilingual Education. CCAVE was founded with the mission of working to build the capacity of bilingual, multilingual activists, artists, and educators in Southern Illinois, and to identify local cultural talent and to share authentic experiences and learning opportunities in the arts for our community. And it's really just, we've been, 2010 was when our founder, Colleen Springer Lopez, shout out to Colleen, started this mission and this labor of love for our community. And I think I joined in sometime around 2015 as just like a breakdown and setup volunteer when I was an undergrad. And then when I started grad school, I was asked if I joined the board. And so I started as artistic director on the board side, which just means that we have input in what it's gonna look like, right? The next year's activities and artistic side is gonna look like. And Colleen was a pleasure to work with and to like assist, being like, ooh, what if we do it this way? Look at this visual. And so it was very cool to work with her. So when the board and Colleen decided that it was time for her to move on to other things and concentrate on other aspects of her life, she mentioned it to the board, and they, had a meeting. They went through the voting process, and they're like, okay, so who's gonna lead us next? And there was a lot of conversation on the table about like my vision for what Cicave could be. And my name got thrown in the hat, and I'm just grateful that they trust me to continue the mission and to expand it in the way that we're attempting to do. Because one of the issues, that I've encountered here is that a lot of our Latinos are living in poverty in Southern Illinois. And so as a result of that, it's hard to do events and to see them or not see them and ask what happened. And they're like, well, I had to work, or, like we don't have money for transportation, or we arrive at events and, everything is monetized. So we don't have the funds to eat while we're there or partake and participate fully. And so this idea of breaking down the barriers further, because I was doing social work at the time, like how do we break them even further? And I teamed up with, Little Resource Center Carbondale and Leave It to Chef here next door at 216 North Washington, CJ across the street, actually even WDBX, and we did Latin Summer Nights out here this past summer, and it's on our 3rd year, but it was the first time we actually closed down an entire street for it. And we did it with that purpose. Although we had business owners in the area partake and sell their wares and their food, because we welcomed that as well, right? We did also include an element where Leave It to Chef and the food pantry provided, and just because it was a nod to my mom and how my mom raised me growing up in a business, I decided that the food was going to be, Latin Southern, so Puerto Rican food. And so Or and I sat down and we broke down the menu and talked about what we could and couldn't do, and created 2 separate dishes, because we were offering a halal one as well, because that's important to me, to create that intersectionality and respect. And so we served 154 plates that day.
That's amazing.
Of Puerto Rican food out here, and it was a fun time, even though it was a little bit rainy. And so I'm really grateful that teaming up with these folks have really made me rethink of how we break those barriers and how we can combine these things to do the most good while also entertaining and providing arts and culture and everything else.
That is, wow, that's just amazing. I love when I hear about an event that just like floors me in the best way, because like you said, you're like, how do we go further? All right, we're bringing this culture and this awareness to this community. Hey, we're here, but then, and that's great. It's like, all right, the people then who can afford to drive there and afford to buy the food, they get to learn a new thing. But what about for the people who it's like, but the culture we're representing, we got to make sure that they get to actually enjoy this, that they get to be celebrated, that they get to be seen, and most importantly, partake in it.
I want Latinos to partake fully in Southern Illinois, not be feared or have a fear of not being accepted. I think that I might be one of the loudest out there Latinas out here, but it doesn't mean that we all don't have the place and the space to do so. We have so many beautiful Latino business owners in the area, Changos Paisano, Don Sol, Don Taco,
Yeah.
Don Luna.
Yeah.
So we
Some of
have
the food truck owners as
yes,
well.
food truck, Latin Taste. Oh man, and you know what? He's Caribbean, but his food is amazing, and it does remind me of home because I grew up in the Caribbean too. So Puerto Rico, and sometimes when I taste Caribbean Heads food, it does take me back to the beach back home. So
that's awesome.
I'm appreciative of just how much Carbondale has in regards to, you know, our intersectionalities, how much we actually work together, right, and try to create our communities and support for our communities.
Yeah.
And you know, Nathan Colombo once asked me like, why Carbondale? Because I had moved out of Carbondale and returned to Carbondale.
Okay.
And I told him like, because it's the only small town that I've been to that allows me to just be and exist. And
Awesome.
for those of us who are creators, right? So if you are a creator and you come to Carbondale, you know, you can create opportunities for you to exist and share your experiences and educate others, because we are a college town. So let's capitalize on that. Like, yeah, I talk about how a lot of my events, people think that they're just food and fare, and I'm like, you've missed a lesson. We are all educators, so come on through, you'll learn something.
Yeah.
It might seem very simple, but our last Latin Summer Nights, we celebrated Puerto Rico, Colombia, Mexico, Ecuador, Honduras, and Guatemala.
Amazing.
Like all in one event. And we do that purposely because, you know, Latino America is more than just Mexico. And although I love the events that we have coming up when we start talking about Carbondale Halloween, it's just one of 27 countries or something like that. So I like to showcase those similarities and threads across, right? Humanity, right? But I don't like to pigeonhole us.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's so important. And like you say, it's not just food and music, but also how educational food and music can be, because that's where you get those little details of each country. Like, hey, it's not just this blanket Hispanic, Latino, like there are all these little details and that represent who those people are. That's so awesome. How fun. Yeah, so you're talking about you know, all these different events, and we are here at the very tail end of Hispanic Heritage Month. It began September 14th.
Yes.
Yeah, and then tomorrow is the last official day of Hispanic Heritage Month. There's been some awesome programming going on. I know Sikabe's done stuff. The library has had a lot of fun events as well.
We teamed up with them this year.
Fantastic.
So, we brought Latin Grammy winner Andres 123.
Yes.
And we presented that on the lawn. And I think that at the height of it, we were like 100, 150 people. So thank you so much for showing up, Carbondale.
Yeah.
Those artists were really excited to come back. They had been here like a decade ago.
Okay, cool.
And I think that was prior to them winning the Latin Grammy. So the fact that we were able to bring them back after, it's I'm really gracious that they loved to work with us the last time, so they returned.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yep, and we are gearing up to do even more. Like you said, so the month is not over until it's over, and because we are, you know, running into the Carbondale Halloween time, we are preparing for it in the way of events. And so, like you said, we had Andres 123 on the 3rd, and then we had Loteria recently the Thursday after that. And so this time around, Miss Francine at the Public Library is actually teaming up with one of our volunteers, Miss Soto. And I believe that they're doing a Dia de los Muertos presentation, so an education portion, which they've done this in the past. And then they're going to be doing flowers and sugar skulls. Cool. And so for folk that go and, you know, you don't want to bring it home, or, you know, what do you do with this when you take it home? You know, there is an opportunity. You can actually donate those items to Sikabe, because we are going to be hosting an event with the varsity, or rather, it's technically an art installation, because it's an altar. It's the first ever Sikabe community altar that'll be hosted with the varsity this year during Carbondale Halloween. So we're in preparation, teaming up, and hoping that some folk will join us, because I'll be there the 17th trying to help folk make some of the flowers. And so if you don't know what to do with them or like to actually go view them the 26th, you're free to donate them while you're done with them. And we will place them on the altar and utilize them for this art installation. So please come participate the 17th, and I hope to see you all the 26th. There is a flyer going around so that the entire community can participate. It has a QR code to a form, and you could submit family members who you would like to see featured on the altar as well. And that is at no cost to anyone. The varsity is graciously offering us the space, and we will be doing the installation with mostly donations.
Awesome.
So I
That's
appreciate
so cool.
it.
And for our viewers who may not know, would you mind just telling a little bit more about what Dias de los Muertos is, and how this altar fits into that educational component, and what that means within that day and within that culture?
So I was gonna ask you how nerdy can I get? So
Nerd out, yeah.
So Halloween, right? If I remember correctly, in pagan theories, there was a day after, right?
Okay.
And then the church created this Halloween version, or to move away from the paganism. And so in Latino America, that was Day of the Dead, and it was a day of remembrance, really. So it just seems creepy to some folk, but it's the idea that we're never gone so long as you're remembered. And so it speaks to our resiliency as a people, right? And it speaks to how much we put behind our work and what we do. And so I think that for a lot of us, I think a lot of our cultures share these different aspects and touches and nods to death and like the afterlife, right? And so the idea of bringing something through the lens of Latinismo, right? But we're still exploring the same exact thing. And that's exactly why we're doing it, right? If I remember correctly, we were doing some research on different flowers that signify death in different countries and cultures, because we intended to do a nod, if we could, to those different cultures within the context of this one. So it's realizing that there's these tiny threads, right, in our folklore that just run along all the way across, and how do we stitch those together and really see just how similar we all are. It is one of my favorite games to play, and so it is something that I really, really enjoy doing for folk, because it allows us to understand each other in different perspectives and remove some of the rhetoric, right, that oftentimes instigates arguments that don't need to occur when we're just trying to share perspectives so we can learn from one another. And so it's just a different way of trying to teach about something that could be very complex and very emotionally charged.
Absolutely. Well, how awesome to bring that to light to our community. And the varsity has just been, they're just wonderful partners to everyone here. They've been hosting so much, and hey, saving the city's back on a couple rainy concerts. We're able to house us, and so I'm just so grateful that they are helping with CICABE for this really beautiful, meaningful educational purpose. If you've seen the movie Coco, you might be familiar, which I do believe the varsity is doing a screening of Coco around this time of the altar. Yes.
So I'm so grateful that Billy was able to pull this trick out of the hat. But we talked about it, and he is able to actually screen it on the 1st.
Awesome.
Although the altar, because we want people to stop by during the candy walk, so we will be unveiling it on the 26th. It'll be there till November 2nd. And that is purposeful, because Day of the Dead is the 1st. And so we wanted it to be there for that day specifically, especially because it holds this like pseudo-religious context, right? Like there's all this cultural context to it too, but there's all this religious aspect of it as well, because we're a highly religious population. It'll be the best way to describe it. And the education pieces are the pieces that we're going to concentrate on, but I can't like remove the religiosity of the cultural aspect of that.
Sure.
And so, you know, I know that for some folk, and in order to respect that religiosity, I should hold it at minimum until the first.
Yeah.
So that was a consideration to be respectful of what we are attempting to showcase, because it is, you know, Mexican culture, and I'm not Mexican, I'm Puerto Rican. I have asked some Mexican family and friends to join me so that I can curate this appropriately. So I am looking forward, especially to some of these SIU students who are so excited about this project. So I cannot wait to get them all together and get everything squared away so that we can really have a Dia de los Muertos in combination with our Carbondale Safe Halloween.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we fit, so we should just be in the fabric of Carbondale.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to do this year.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love how many times I feel like your vision is so clear that others, like, I'm like, I see it in the way you talk about this thread and this fabric and how, yeah, we gotta weave all these little details together because we're all here together. Yeah. You know, we
it's
cannot.
Humanity.
Yeah, and
it's
so,
humanity, so
let's weave that blanket and stay nice and cozy and warm together. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really gracious that the town has seen the work that we've done since 2010 and how much we've grown as an organization. And you know, we have a joke that we're tiny but mighty, because our executive team is very small, right? And we're all volunteer ran. So a lot of people don't know that as well. So we get grants in order to do all of these events from the state and federal government. And that is all we pay for, is what we're doing at this time. So we're hoping to grow with the town, and we're hoping that as people get more involved, CICABE can actually, you know, have a home someday.
Yeah, wonderful. How, if folks do want to get involved, what's the best way to get involved with CICABE?
So we actually have a couple of avenues that we've finally been able to achieve as a result of this rural initiative funding that we received from Illinois Humanities. And so we got a little bit of operational funding, but it wasn't enough to open an entire site. It was enough to do certain things that we didn't have, like have a P.O. box and have a website. Ownr.org, even though we don't have a tech person that can make them speak to each other, but we own it. So we're working on these pieces, and we're really grateful that you know, we finally look like all the work we've been doing.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because of the operationals, right? Like operational funding is so important. So please support your local nonprofits. They really need to keep the lights on, and they really need to pay for light bills and rent and things like that. So find your best service that you enjoy, and if you have $5 that you can spare, just throw it their way. It makes a difference when it's, you know, a couple of hundred of us doing $5 at a time. Yeah. And I say that for all of them: WDBX, CJ, Little Resource Center, Leave It to Chef, the Varsity, us. If you would like to, we do have a P.O. Box, 1283. You can send us something in Carbondale, Illinois, 62903. So right now we don't have any electronic form to receive them, but we can accept payments via check. So feel free to, you know, all of them. Yeah. they all do great work. Rainbow Cafe is also awesome. So please just support one of them. We're all out here doing a lot of really great work. And I love that we're all reaching across the aisles right now. So we're stopping the working in silos. Yes. So we're all specialists in our very specific areas. And we are all tipping the hat at that. And then we're putting our heads together now, really, and created kind of like these smaller consortiums of nonprofits getting together, like how can we do more with less, and without stressing our resources and our people. Yeah. And so I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful for everyone who works with us, who seeks us out, and we're always looking for volunteers and volunteer opportunities. We actually have people reach out to us and be like, would you do an event for this? And I'm like, it's culture and art. You just gotta show up to the meetings. Yeah, awesome. Come on down. We welcome it. It doesn't have to be Latino. Like, If someone doesn't do your event, but you have an idea about something you want to showcase in your country, I'm game.
Awesome.
I am so game.
Yeah.
You just have to come reach out and talk to me. And our phone number, because we do, you can text us as well, is 314-730-4005.
Awesome. Do you want to repeat that phone number one more time?
So that is 314-730-4005.
Awesome. Yeah. This has just been so exciting. I'm always grateful for the show because I get to learn even more about the organizations of the people I bring on. So thank you so much for coming on today. We just have a couple minutes left. Is there any kind of last minute thing you really want folks to know about CICABE?
So we utilize peer mentorship in an individualized way to allow folk to reach their goals. By that I mean, if you really wanted to start a business but you didn't know where to start and you encountered and started that conversation with me, I will provide you the resources of where to go. And if they don't offer them in Espanol, I do go ask for you. So I want to make sure that people realize that a lot of these resources may be presented initially in English, but if you ask, they might actually offer them in Espanol already. Little Resource Center Carbondale is one of them. They offer Spanish stuff, and we're moving into doing programming in Espanol soon.
Amazing.
And then Leave It to Chef. If you actually visit their pantry, everything is bilingual on their fridges. That is intentional. So please just know that, opportunities are out there, and if something isn't already offered in Spanish, please just reach out. You don't have to be the one to go ask. If that's not, your style, I can go ask. And I could also help them maybe flip the information to Spanish. So we're all about creating access and opportunities, and it's about the people for the people.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so very much for coming on today. Thank you so much for all the amazing work that you and your organization does. Just so beneficial to our community in a multitude of ways. So go show CICABE some love, visit them on social media and their website, and come visit the community altar at the Varsity Center this Halloween season. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks.